Hello and welcome to this podcast series, Day in the Life of an Actuary, brought to you by the Monash Actuarial Student Society. Just a little disclaimer before we start. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the speakers only and do not necessarily reflect the views of Monash University and our sponsor firms.
So this episode is a part of a podcast series where we will be sitting down and having conversation with representatives from our sponsor firms to give to you, our actuarial student members, insights on many important topics from university experience, internship and graduate applications to the actuarial industry and the work of an actuary.
Mm-hmm. My name is Chelsea and I am the sponsorship director for MAS in 2020.
I'm Shay, I'm the treasurer of MAS, and today for our very first episode we're delighted to be joined by Jasleen, Gill and Jessica Tran, two graduates from Deloitte Actuarial.
Mm-hmm. So to start off, Jasleen and Jessica, why don't you give us an introduction about yourselves to our student members who want to know more about you?
Yeah, I'll go first. Hi, I'm Jess. I'm a graduate at Deloitte. I'm an actuarial analyst there. Previously, I studied at Monash as well. So I did a Bachelor of Commerce majoring in finance and also studied a Bachelor of Actuarial Science. And something that I did during my time at Monash was I did a bit of social sports, just casual sports at Monash social sports in netball.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Jasleen Gill, also an actuarial analyst at Deloitte. My education is at Monash University. I did a Bachelor of Actuarial Science, and then after that I completed a year of honours in the Business and Econometrics department. I specialised in actuarial. I also ended up doing a minor in economics. And as you all would know, I did an honours to complete my Part 2 exemption. I didn't actually do any extracurricular work at uni. That's just because I had an additional job and I had commitments outside of uni as well.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
We have 4 Monashians here today.
Yeah, it's really always good to have alumni with us. So could you expand more on what your uni years were like? So was there any particular memories that you look back on and go, yes, that was my favourite memory?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, oh my God, like the past 4 years actually definitely went by really fast, but memories that really stood out was I was on exchange. So I was in England studying for a semester at Warwick, and that was like the best decision that I have ever made.
Cool.
It was definitely something very different, and you get to experience something completely different, a different culture, and study abroad is always fun as well. So yeah, I think that's a memory at uni that I'll never forget. It's really exciting.
Oh, amazing.
I think for me, the memory was actually my honours year. I would have never experienced anything like it anywhere else in Monash. Just the opportunity that we had to interact with all the lecturers, the professors, and all those wise academics. I got to work closely with 2 of them, work on a project that I could call my own. It was one of the best experiences that I had at uni. And on top of that, I think with actuarial being such a small department comparatively to the rest of the university, you end up making friends in your later years because you see everyone's familiar, ended up making a great group of friends, and it just made the whole experience at uni so much better.
Oh, sounds good. Did you know each other when you were still at Monash?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
we did units together. We did projects together.
Oh, that's really
so
cool.
definitely knew each other before.
Yeah, we were ecstatic to find out we were working together.
Yeah, it was so good.
Best feeling ever, right? Yeah. So a bit late, but congratulations on becoming actuarial analyst at Deloitte.
Thank you.
Yeah. So looking back on your university life, how did those experiences that you just highlighted help you succeed in the competitive graduate role application process? Do you want to start, Jessica?
Yeah, so how it helped me with the graduate process, the application process?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think definitely a lot of things in uni has helped. The exchange has helped me in a way that I got to like experience something different other than studying at Monash and doing actuarial units at Monash, you get to do something at a different uni, and you get to share that experience when you're going through the application process. When just having a casual conversation with the interviewer or even your peers, I think is a great thing to talk about. And even at uni, doing your group assignments and all of those sort of tasks that teach you a lot, not just your technical skills, but also your soft skills, which I think is really important when you're going through the application process and applying for different roles, because they do want to see that soft skill there. And you can also explain that experience through your group assignments as well, and how you manage your time in those group assignments. I think it's definitely something that is, I guess, worthy of being aware of. Yeah.
That's interesting. So it's like the skills and the stories that you can tell to the employer that matter the most, right?
Yeah, just like, I guess, just being yourself and being able to be aware of what you've learned throughout your uni years, not just technically, but also your soft skills and all that.
That's really interesting to know. Jasleen, what is your thoughts on this?
I agree 100% with Jess. There's nothing really much to add on to. They really do value the knowledge and skills that we learn from uni, in particular at Monash. And as Jess said, the soft skills and the skills that we get from group assignments. I know some of us hate it, but it's really valuable to them when we explain to them what assignments and projects we've done and how we've handled them in a team situation. It's really important to them, because in the workplace, it's a lot of teamwork, it's a lot of individual work, and they want to see how you can work in both scenarios. Furthermore, I just wanted to add an extra thing to Jess, and that was that going to attend some of the maths lectures, even just listening to the guest lectures that we had at in part 2 units. They helped so much to understand the type of job that's required as an actuary, the type of skills you're looking for, and just the soft skills and technical skills. They really help you understand and put together a story of what's required in an everyday job for an actuary.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's also, Monash also has that graduate development program as well. I know that because I did that last year as well, and I know that they do that every year, each semester, and I think that's a really good opportunity to get partnered with a mentor who's also in the workforce, and they can teach you teach you to develop professionally in whatever way you're looking for. So I had a mentor as well who helped me in that, and they would challenge you and put you into uncomfortable positions so that you can really push yourself outside of your comfort zone, which I think is important as well.
Wow,
that's very insightful. I actually hadn't heard of the graduate development program. Well,
yeah, they do have that. I'm pretty sure each semester they would have one, and definitely have a look out for that, because I think it's really great. You get partnered with a mentor who's currently in the workforce, and they've got so much experience, and they can definitely share that experience with you one-on-one. So I think it's really great.
Yeah, definitely really interesting to learn. So in such a competitive process, do you think any particular experience helped you stand out and gave you that edge over like the just other university students?
I don't know if particular experiences make you stand out, because I feel like everyone has different experiences, and each experience does make you stand out in a different way. It's more so what you learn from that experience and how you can show that you have grown and developed something over that experience, because each experience has its own purpose. So I guess, I mean, if you want an idea of where you can get further experience and have more to learn from, you definitely would say like working, whether it's in retail or any sort of part-time casual work, teaches you a lot. Internships are also great, teaches you what it's like in the professional culture, and even just being a part of extracurricular at uni as well. They're all so valuable, I feel like, in different ways.
Yeah, it really depends what you take away from each experience. I guess when you apply for any job, they don't look for what you've done, they look for what you've taken from it and how much you've grown from it. So just as Jess said, you got to understand what to learn from each experience, and don't feel left out if you didn't make that internship or if you couldn't attend a lecture you really wanted to. Focus on what you have got and what you can take away from it. Make the best of it.
Yeah. So I think the biggest takeaway is just do things that you genuinely love and enjoy doing, and you'll be able to tell them like in a convincing way, right?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think you should do something that you don't enjoy, for sure. Just do something that you love, and like that would not only make you enjoy the process even more, but you're learning something at a greater degree.
Wow, interesting.
Very interesting. So why did you apply for Deloitte, and in particular the actuarial division of Deloitte? We'll start with you, Jessica.
So why I applied for Deloitte? So I had friends who were previous vacationers at Deloitte, and I know some who work at Deloitte, and I've heard great things about Deloitte in terms of their work culture, which is something that's really important to me. I want to go to work enjoying the whole environment and getting along with the people. So that was mainly the reason why I applied for Deloitte, for the work culture. And the reason why I applied for the actuarial field is because, well, specialising in actuarial science, you kind of want to take that step forward and really pursue a career out of it. I wanted to see what it's like with the knowledge I've learned at uni and how I can apply it in real work. So that's why I applied for the actuarial division. And the reason why I applied for consulting is that I like the idea of working with different clients and I guess interacting with different clients. Yeah.
I think Jess and I think alike, so we have the same reasons. For me, it was also the same. I heard amazing things about the Deloitte work culture and just the way they treat their employees, and it really came to play to me on my first day. As soon as I entered the workplace, everyone was so nice, so welcoming. They were willing to help me out on even the smallest of issues I had. The big thing for me was I wanted to be able to use the skills. We all focus on specialising in actuarial studies at uni, and I wanted to make sure that I can use that skill. But the big thing for me was I didn't want to be confined into just working in the traditional section and just focus on, say, life insurance or just focus on health insurance. Deloitte provides us that platform to be able to experience a vast variety of industries that actuaries can work with. And it's not only the traditional work industries, it's also non-traditional work industries. We do a lot of analytical work as well, and it just expands for Deloitte. Furthermore, I really enjoyed the consulting aspect that Deloitte provides. And that way we get to not only share our knowledge and help people in a particular firm, we can help people in different firms across Australia, nationwide, worldwide. And it's just a really great experience just to put yourself out there and gain some exposure.
Wow, that was a very thoughtful response.
Yeah.
Interesting to know.
Expanding on that, what helped you make up your mind and make an well-informed decision about your career and where you wanted to work?
Definitely uni helps a lot. I actually thought maths helped me a lot. So, just following maths online, following them on Facebook, any sort of social media, and just listening out to them, even in their lectures. At the start of the lectures, you'll have your maths representatives come up and tell you about something new that's happening that week. Always listen out to them because they have the most up-to-date knowledge and news about what's happening in the workforce that's related to all of us students. So I basically found out about most of the employers for actuaries through maths. I found out about what's happening, what are those employers doing for students at the right time. It was all through maths. And I think that you just really need to be aware and look out for those things. So definitely maths was a pretty big person to help me with that. Another thing was just the lecturers. One thing that I didn't realize until later in my uni is that our lecturers are really experienced. They have a lot of wisdom. A lot of them have actually worked in the workforce. So, take your time out, listen to them, talk to them, because they have a lot of knowledge and they're willing to guide you. They'll catch up with you for a minute or 2 minutes before or after a workshop, and they'll just talk to you about their experience. I talked to someone who's a chief actuary. He was our lecturer. We all know Julie. She's always willing to talk to you about her experiences and even help you through your membership applications or how to get through to becoming what you want to become, an actuary, associate, fellow. She's always willing to help you out. So just take those resources.
Wow. So, okay. So like I know that actuarial studies is very hard for you to teach unless you have like the industry knowledge. So you definitely learned a lot from uni experience as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Is it any different from you, Jessica?
No, I agree with Jasleen. I think definitely chatting with people who've been in the field and who's been there and done that helps you a lot, because I feel like naturally you feel like that's the most helpful sort of information that you can gain, and the most, like, the best insight that you can really get. So just chatting with people, even people not in the industry and who's worked for the company that you're interested in. So chatting with them can also give you a great insight. And people, like, because I knew people who previously worked at Deloitte or have recently joined Deloitte, and I'll ask, okay, so why did you choose Deloitte? What are the reasons? And just having that casual conversation with them can really give you a great insight. Just as Jasleen said, having that conversation with your lecturers and all that, and asking them, what do you do? Why did you choose this field? And what made you choose that field, really? So yeah, definitely just having those discussions are helpful.
And were those discussions come from networking events that you attended or through other sources?
I feel like they're more from just being in those development programs, even just at uni, meeting those people through lectures and through internships as well. Yeah, so that's how I meet my people. The people that I know, they're just through friends of friends and all that, and just chatting with them and going, oh yeah, so you know this person, can I have a chat with them? Just like, can I shoot them an email and ask them a couple of questions just so I can get a bit of an idea of what the industry is like.
Yeah, so it's clear that you both are very passionate about this field. So why actuarial science, and what interests you about becoming an actuary? Do you want to start first, Jasleen?
Yeah, so for me, it was originally when I entered into uni, for me, I heard do actuarial science. If you like maths, if you like business, go for actuarial science. So I was like, why not? I like maths, I like business, I'll go for it. Once I got into it in uni, I started to understand exactly what it is that's involved in being an actuary, what sort of skills we require. And it started to become really exciting and interesting to me. And now seeing it all being used practically in the workplace, I find it really interesting, because actuaries have those skills that we can just apply anywhere, and we can just expand our knowledge, work with professionals who aren't just actuaries. And the work that we do is very much in real time. We don't work with situations that aren't going to happen, or we don't work with situations that happened years ago. We're working in the current situation, in the current environment. And an actuary's job is always changing. There's always something new coming. There's always a chance to learn something new. We're developing. It's never the same old boring tasks. And I just feel like as an actuary, the profession itself, it's very highly looked upon. And the reason for that is because we actually have that skill. We can give ourselves that credibility that we do the right work, we do the right modelling, and we come with the right decisions. And people really look up to our advice. And I really want to provide advice to people and help them. So that was one of my main reasons.
I see. So for you, it's the technical aspects, like the versatile nature, and also the community effect of the profession that interests you the most, right?
Definitely, yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this, Jessica?
Yeah, I agree with Jasleen. With actuarial science, the reason why I chose actuarial science is because I've heard about the complexity and the thinking. It really pushes the way that you think and challenges you the way that you solve problems, which is a really great skill to have in the workforce and in everyday life, really. The sort of skills that you gain from actuarial science is not only, it doesn't just apply to the actuarial field, so it doesn't just apply for insurance, super, and all that sort of traditional actuarial areas, but it also applies in other business areas as well, which I think is an extremely important skill to have, just the way of solving problems and the complexity of it. So that's really why I chose actuarial science, because I just wanted to challenge myself and I wanted to push myself to the best potential ability, really.
So Deloitte seems like a perfect workplace for you to grow there, right? It's not like a traditional actuarial firm, and it's such a big firm that you get to challenge yourselves with new and exciting projects once in a while.
You definitely get to touch on lots of different areas. You get to touch on life insurance, general insurance, super, and even areas that aren't in the general traditional actuarial field. So it's really great exposure, in my opinion.
I see.
So could you both tell us what an average day in your life as an actuarial analyst is like? We'll start with you, Jessica.
Every day is never the same. Especially in consulting, you don't know what the day will be like. You could think today's it's not going to be as busy, and then it turns out to be your busiest day. But that's the beauty of it, I guess, in consulting, is you don't know what it is. It's not every day's not the same, and it keeps you up on your toes, and you get to try something new and get pulled into different projects at random times. But it's a great learning experience. I guess if I had to put it in like a timeline of what my day would be like, I'd get up in the morning, I'd check out my emails, I'd go on Skype and make sure I do all my morning routine stuff, and then I'm straight into project work, whether it's 1, 2 or 3 projects in a day, and just meeting those deadlines. And every project is so different. You have long-term projects and short-term projects, and they all challenge you in different ways, whether you're working on spreadsheets or you're coding. It's very, very different in every way.
Seems like something that a netball enthusiast would really enjoy, right? Dealing with like unexpected balls coming from all directions.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So what about you, Jasleen?
Yeah, exactly the same as what Jess is saying. Every day is so different, but that's what I love about the job. I don't want to come saying I'm going to be doing the same thing as yesterday. Every day is a challenge in itself. I'm constantly learning on the job. Every day, every hour, I come through something new, something different. And as Jess said, it's usually you start off with your emails, you figure out what's in your calendar for today, if there's any meetings, anything you need to meet, and then it's straight away into projects. Or, sometimes if you don't have projects, there's always something for you to do, You just go to the person next to you, go to your career coach, you go to your buddy, and you just be like, do you have anything for me to do? There's always some sort of development work for you to do. Something for you personally, something for Deloitte. Deloitte just caters for everything that a person needs and that their firm needs. So there's always something for you to do to be productive there and make an impact that matters, really.
So in such an untraditional environments like that, were things exactly the same as you would expect when you before you joined Deloitte?
You go first, Jasleen.
I'm not actually sure what I was expecting. There are some aspects of it that I got what I expected, and some parts I was shocked, but in a good way, because I just didn't understand how I was going to use all the academic knowledge that we learn in uni and apply that in the real world. And so that was sort of something that was interesting and new to me, to see that how everyone would just use all that knowledge that we learn about actuarial products or anything like that, and just how it's actually applied and how they use that for consulting services. And one thing that I realized that sometimes it's not just those technical skills on how to model, it's also how we present it, and our communication verbally, and even our written communication. It's so important, and learning that and realizing that that's a really major part of being an actuary was something that I didn't actually expect.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah. Well, in terms of the work sort of culture, work life, wasn't too much of a surprise, just because I've done previous internship in consulting as well. So I saw it coming in terms of not every day will be the same. You're always getting different projects and all that. But I guess I wasn't sure what to expect in terms of what sort of work I'll be doing and how my knowledge from uni will be applied into that sort of work. What sort of spreadsheet work am I doing? How am I modeling products and everything? So that sort of stuff was, I guess, a bit unsure. I didn't know what to expect. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, so this is what we're doing now. How do I do it? But that's the whole learning process, really. And it's great, yeah.
Yeah. So with a lot of work to do in consulting every day like that, do you usually have to bring work home with you and do in the evenings or in the weekends?
No, I wouldn't say you'd have to bring work home, and we definitely haven't had to do that. But it's more the idea of just, when your deadline is, and just make sure you do the work in time and how you use your time during your office, when you're in the office, because it's all about how productive you are. Let's say if you're not productive, then you would expect yourself to be taking work home to finish off the work. But when you are productive, you would expect yourself to be able to finish on time. So it's not really, I guess, a work overload as long as you manage your time well.
Is it the same thing for you as well, Jasleen?
Yeah, so I agree with Jess. The thing is that Deloitte is such a great firm to work for, that they have flexi work and they're so flexible with how you work, depending on your hours or even where you want to work. They're catered to every need of yours. And the point is that some people might need to work from home certain days. They might need to leave the actual office earlier certain days and go home and work from home. And Deloitte caters for that. So it's, as Jess said, it's really up to the person and how productive they are, what their situations and circumstances are like. There's no such thing as overloading people to work 12 hours a day. Deloitte doesn't expect that from you. They have reasonable expectations and they're willing to cater for your every need to help you with that. So it's really up to you.
And they understand that, like, you've got other things that you have to commit to outside of the work life as well, outside your 9 to 5 kind of job. It's not just working.
Yeah, so just expanding on the topic of work, what are some of the most exciting actuarial projects that you have worked on at Deloitte so far or in your past internships? Do you want to start with Jessica?
Yeah.
So some of the exciting projects. Well, one of the recent projects that I'm on, I think the exciting thing was it's a short project and I got to be a part of it from the very start to the very end. So the exciting part was I got to do all the evaluation, the calculation and everything, and up to the report writing that was going to be sent out to the client. And because it's such a small project, you get to work closely with your team and have those really thorough discussions and understand the project back to front, which I think was an exciting one. Unfortunately, can't say too much about what I did, but I think the exciting part is definitely just being able to see the beginning of something and the end product.
And having autonomy in your work is something that we all really value, right? You feel like you're contributing to the team with a lot of effort and things like that. Yeah. Do you have any exciting project to share with us, Jasleen?
Yeah, so I've worked on a few projects ever since I started and they've all been so different in nature, quite interesting. The most interesting thing for me was that these projects that I was working on weren't for companies in Australia. So for me to understand how those companies operate in countries outside of Australia, what sort of products they're looking at, how their company structures are, trying to understand that is quite interesting, and you get involved in the whole process. As Jess said, you just go from start to beginning. They tell you the overview of what needs to be done. You work from the valuation, the research, grabbing the data, doing analysis, and producing the results in the report writing, and eventually giving it all to the client. You're involved in all of it. So they've all been quite interesting. Another thing is that I've been personally involved in looking at projects that are related to the current situation we're in right now and the impacts of it. And it's all quite interesting. Obviously, we can't go into further detail about that.
Yeah, I understand. So
building on from talking about your projects, what tools and technical skills have you both had to use?
Yeah, Jess?
Definitely your Excel spreadsheet work. It's used a lot. Even your PowerPoint is used a lot for presentations. I feel like VBA, the ones that we use in the firm, mostly VBA, coding, Profit, which I don't think both of us have touched yet, but it is something that we're going to be learning on. And SAS as well, I've heard, is a coding language that is used quite often as well, and R, yeah. But right now, for me, it's just a lot of Excel spreadsheet work and PowerPoint.
Yeah. So any knowledge about the industry or other soft skills that were involved in your projects?
Definitely for me, you definitely need to have that knowledge. But the thing is, I don't want anyone to get scared that you need to know knowledge, because as students, we don't have that knowledge. No one expects it from us, not even the people who we work for or our managers. They understand that we don't have such high level knowledge. They do obviously expect us to have some small level of it, but they're willing to share their experience and their knowledge with you. And that's just how you gain it. It's sort of using the knowledge that you have from the academic side and trying to translate that to what your managers tell you and what the clients need. And that's the most important part, finding that connection between the two. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all based on practice as well. You can definitely tell when you talk to people who are more senior, who've had all that experience, you can tell that they have seen this before. They know what to expect and all that. And that's definitely through just experience, a lot of experience and a lot of exposure. So being able to just get as much experience as possible and will help you understand how to, I guess, build that bridge from your uni knowledge to industry knowledge.
Mm. Do you want to add anything to this, Shay? Any questions you want to ask?
I know you've spoken a lot about just experience and gaining these skills, but is there any advice you'd give to students who want to have a bit of a higher knowledge when they start, or is it just experience?
Well, you can definitely do a lot of other things through, I guess, like what I mentioned, the mentoring programs and all that. Finding a mentor, I think, is extremely important, and it's something that not many people talk about, but any mentor is always better than no mentor, in my opinion. Like we've got coaches who also coach us at Deloitte, which is great. Another way is staying up to date with the news, knowing what's going on in the market. A great way for actuaries, I guess, is to subscribe to the Institute of Actuaries. They actually send out weekly news as well, which is what I did. And just reading through those news, you get to an idea of what's happening in the actuarial industry and what's changing and how different market conditions are changing the way that we work. And that sort of stuff, to have knowledge in that, I think is extremely helpful in getting that head start, I guess you can say.
Mm. Yeah, so
I think I've got a really good tip for everyone, because I know as uni students, we find it quite boring just to find that time out to read the news, you know, follow or even watch the news. So a little hack that I found helpful for me was to go on social media and start following them, because we all have the time to scroll through our notifications on social media, and it just so happens that the news pops up on your feed. And I just found that so good and so helpful that I didn't have to go out of my way and read that news. It just popped up on my feed for me. So, you know, following things like the Financial Review, following the Institute, definitely go on LinkedIn. I find it really helpful. And when you're on LinkedIn, follow the firms you're interested in, follow the industries you're interested in, because those people are constantly posting things that are related to them. Deloitte is constantly posting, you know, their recent projects or their recent experiences or what their views and opinions are on the current situation. And it really helps to understand the kind of firm that Deloitte is, or the kind of firm that you want to join. And it really helps you make that decision.
That's a very good tip. And just out of curiosity, on the technical skills that you mentioned, like the coding languages and the programs and software. So how did you go about learning about these technical skills? Because I know that uni only teaches you basic R or basic Excel. So how did you show the employer that you have the ability to go further than that?
I personally don't think they expect you to know too much about the coding language, because with technical skills, you can easily build it and learn it through once you join the firm. And there's a lot of learning activities out there to teach you. So LinkedIn Learning and all that, Deloitte will provide that for you. And you've got people who will mentor you and teach you how to use it. So there's not too much of an expectation to thoroughly know your coding and languages, but I guess it is good if you have a bit of a head start. So I know there are some units at Monash that aren't made compulsory, but they teach you very valuable skills such as R coding. I know Jasleen did, which unit was it that had R?
Oh, I think you're talking about ETC 1010 with Di.
Yeah,
It's so good.
Yeah.
I think it's compulsory now, though.
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, definitely wasn't compulsory when we were at uni, and even modelling in finance. That finance unit is, I don't think it's compulsory now, but it was when I was studying. That teaches you VBA from the very beginning, from the very scratch, which is really helpful. I learned so much in that unit. It's definitely an extremely helpful unit. So just knowing what units are being offered at Monash, because I'm sure Monash will teach you quite a lot, but sometimes you're just not aware of what's out there.
I see. Yeah.
But I think going on with that question, how do we show the employer that we have these skills? I think that's what you're after, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think the most important thing is to have confidence in yourself. If you don't have confidence in yourself, there's no way you can show that to your employer, and they won't have confidence in you. So the important thing is to explain to your employer that you've worked on specific softwares and explain to them how you've used that software in what particular projects, and that helps them understand that you do have that technical skill. You know, as someone who understands R and works with R, the employer knows that you'll be able to catch on, you know, how to use VBA, how to use MATLAB, how to use Profit. Because they'll be like, if you can learn a basic coding system like R, you can easily pick up Profit. And that's what gives them confidence in you. So it's really about selling yourself and selling what you already know. So tell them how you've used Excel, tell them how you've used R, and that's what gives them the confidence.
Oh, those are some really good tips on skills and knowledge that students can apply easily in their daily life. So another question that I want to ask is, what is the work culture like at Deloitte? Like, now that you have experienced the company for many months now.
The work culture, I think, is extremely welcoming and friendly. From the very beginning, like Jasleen said, once we entered, everyone was super nice or super friendly and helped us out as much as whenever we asked. So at the very beginning, as a graduate, it can be quite daunting because you don't know what's going on. You don't really know how to perform projects, how to evaluate things. And it's always about asking questions. And at times you feel like, oh, am I bothering them and all that? But the people at Deloitte are extremely friendly and are always there to help. They would always even look like just tap you on the shoulder and go, hey, how are you going? Do you need a hand with anything? Is there anything that you're worried about and everything? So the culture is extremely welcoming and friendly. And what's great about it is that we also have a buddy and coach system as well. So there's always someone to turn to. So you're partnered with a buddy who's a couple years older than you, a couple years above you, who's had a couple of years of experience, and they will guide you and help you with getting started. And you also have a coach who also helps with your career progression, and you catch up with your coach weekly or monthly, and they just see how you're performing and help you with whatever your career goals are. So it's a really great culture. It's always there to help you further develop.
What about you, Jasleen? How do you find Deloitte so far?
Yeah, definitely the same as Jess. Deloitte just has an amazing support system for grads, not only just grads, all their employees and staff. One thing I found is that, you know, as a grad, it is daunting. You don't want to be the first person to go up to someone, but you don't realize that you just shoot them a small message or you tap them on the shoulder and they're there. They're willing to help you out. They're willing to take out a few minutes in their work life just for you. And another thing is that sometimes you don't even have to do anything. So, you know, we've got our buddy, we've got our coach, we've even got our engagement managers, and they willingly just set up meetings. They'll be like, all right, Tuesday, 10 o'clock, we're going to be catching up. And just to, you know, talk about you, how things are going. So it's not all about getting the task done, getting those numbers, getting the results. It's about the person you are, and they really care about your well-being and making sure that you understand things. So personally, I have a bit of an anecdote where I was doing a project and I just sort of mentioned or struggled to get this information. After that meeting, the engagement manager, just the manager, he called me and he's like, hi Jasleen, how are you doing? Please don't feel the pressure. Talk to me about it. And, you know, he's just like, we don't expect you to know it. Don't worry. He's just like, let's go through this. And he's like, let's share the screen. And, you know, he's like, all right, click on this file. Let's have a look through it. Let's see if we can find it together, you know. So they're really, it's all about working together. They know it's not an individual thing. We're Deloitte. We present ourselves as just Deloitte, not individuals to clients. So we work as a team.
Wow, that's a really nice story. It showed that they really reached out to you, not just waiting for you to ask questions and coming to them.
Definitely.
So we know that actuaries, on top of the normal work that we do at our company, also have to take exams. So do you feel like you receive a lot of support in this endeavor with the team at Deloitte?
Yeah, we definitely do. Deloitte recognizes that the job that we do, it's a requirement for us to be professionally recognized, and they will do as much as they can to help us. So Deloitte does provide us with study leave, they provide us with financial support, and you know, if you need anything else, they're always willing to listen to you and look out to you and give you anything that you need really to help you with the study experience. So is there anything else, Jess?
Yeah, I think the great thing about Deloitte is that in the actuarial team, everyone else has also done the study. Mm-hmm. So you've already got that support there as well. So if you're not too sure something, you can ask them and say, hey, I'm studying this area, but I don't really get it. Is there any way that you could explain it more? Or is there a project that I could do that can help me give a further insight of this process or something? So that's a great thing about Deloitte, is that you've also got that support system there for you.
Yeah, it's a really good thing.
So you've really sold Deloitte to us. How do we go about, how did you go about with the different stages of the application process, and do you have any tips?
So I don't know if you guys know, for the Deloitte process, I don't know if it's changed honestly, but there's quite a few stages for Deloitte. I think it's 4 stages. So you've got your psychometric, or your application, then your psychometric testing, phone interview, assessment center, plus interview, and then another partner interview. But in that process, I think what's important to know is that, especially during the interviews, is that they ask you all these questions, but what they really want to know is, can I work with you? Do I see myself working with you? And you got to be able to show them that, yes, you can work with me, and that we can work well together. Because I think that's the biggest selling point. They don't really worry too much if you're not, like, if you don't have the technical skills there yet, but what's more important is whether or not you can work well together, whether or not you can work in a team and individually, and also have the determination to really progress and build on your skills.
Yeah. Because if they feel like they can trust you, then they can trust you with the clients, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anything to add, Jasleen?
I do think that it's so important to be yourself. Everyone hears it all the time, but be your best self. And being your best self doesn't mean be someone else. It's just being the best version of yourself, because the interviewers can pick out if you're being fake or not. And that's not something that any employer wants. So really just be yourself. It's true, Deloitte is quite diverse and unique, and you know, just be yourself. You don't want to be like the person next to you. They really want to see who you are. And as Jess said, they want to see if they can work with you. And if you're someone that's willing to learn, constantly learn and pick up on things. Another thing that helped me through the process was, if you know someone, talk to them. Definitely get that mentoring. Ask them how they went through the process. I knew someone that just went through the process a year earlier with Deloitte in a different business unit, and she just helped me. You know, she said, be a bit more thorough in your interview questions. She gave me a little set out. She gave me some of the work that she did prior to the interview. She said, look out for certain questions. I think definitely doing research helps a lot. So any interview that any of you will go to, do research on that company and do a bit of research on the interviewer that you get, if you know who your interviewer is. It just helps you understand what sort of questions they might ask you, or what sort of questions you should ask from them. Because at the end of the day, it's not only that they're trying to find someone that fits in their company, you're trying to find a company that you can fit into as well.
It's a two-way story, right? You like the company and you show that you like them, so it will appear very genuine in a way. So also on the topic of application, I once read an article where it said that some employers have highlighted knowledge about the industry as something that a lot of university students often lack when they apply for graduate roles, and it's something that usually make them fail the application process, if that makes sense. So do you have any advice on this for actuarial students wanting to maybe improve on their industry knowledge?
Yeah, I think industry knowledge is very important. Knowing what's going on in the society, really. And I guess what we've mentioned before is like that following system on Facebook and LinkedIn, and getting up to date with the news, and subscribing to the Institute of Actuaries. All of those are baby steps to really helping you build that foundation on the market and what's going on and what's happening in the industry. Because it is important. And when you have an interview and they do ask you a question about what's happening in the industry, you can have a knowledgeable and intelligent conversation with them, because they obviously know what's going on as well. And when you can share that sort of like knowledge, it's a great way to have a conversation with them as well.
Any thoughts on this, Jasleen?
I think what's important to note is no one should freak out thinking that they need to be experts in the industry. It was definitely a feedback that I got despite being successful with Deloitte, and they said, we guess that's just something that you'll get with working experience. And I agree with them, because I think what they're looking for is not high level knowledge of the industry. It's just some sort of knowledge, knowing what the companies are or just what's happening in the financial world. You don't need to have high level expertise, so don't worry about that. Just make sure that you have some sort of knowledge.
And do you think it is something that you can only obtain through doing internships, or you can learn by yourself anytime and anywhere?
I think internships are a great pathway to it, but don't just focus on internships. I think something that really helped me during my interviews was talking about the job that I had at that point, and that was the casual job. I was working as a concierge in a shopping centre. So obviously it's nothing technically related to actuarial at all, but there are so many soft skills that people don't realise that you still use. You're still using communication, teamwork, and it's about using, as I said earlier, it's about using the experiences that you have and showing them how it can be used in the actuarial job. So really if you don't get the internship, I never got an internship, don't be afraid. Just stick with what you have. Use your casual job experiences and see what you've learned from there. Is there any sort of skill that you can use, and show the interviewer that you can use at the job in Deloitte or as an actuary?
Yeah, it's definitely very comforting to know for a lot of students out there who aren't able to get any internships before they graduate.
Yeah.
Any additional advice, Jess?
No, I agree with that, Jasleen, is that an internship definitely does help, because you do have that step in the foot of what's like in the what the work life is really like. But it's not the end of the world if you don't have an internship experience. There's also other ways that you can gain experience. Even just being a part of a club, and what you guys are doing is amazing experience. You learn a lot in that experience, and working as well. Volunteering as well is a really great way to do something different. And I had one more in mind, but it just flew out.
I think another great thing is they want to understand who you are outside of your academic and work person. So they want to understand, do you actually have any hobbies? So if you play basketball, tell them that you play basketball. Tell them you're a team player, They want to look out for that, because essentially that's who you are. That's the kind of person you are. You play sport and you interact with other people. So they want to see that, because at the end of the day, the person who's going to be joining their firm is you as a whole, not just the person who did education and got the grades, you know? So
Really
yeah,
interesting to know.
even sport, or if you don't do sport, music, whatever it is that you do, it all counts.
Yeah, your interest definitely helps you build that character, which I think is extremely important to show who you are as an individual.
Wow, interesting.
Very interesting. So what are some of the exciting changes happening right now to the typical workplace that you've noticed? Obviously, there's working from home and distancing that way, but anything else?
Jasleen?
I think the biggest thing for particularly our industry as actuaries, it would be that we're expanding from our traditional work. We're going into a lot of analytical work as well. And I'm not just working with actuaries, you know, you work with people who from different backgrounds and you communicate with them, you work on the same projects with them. So you work with engineers, for example. And I think that's quite interesting, that change that's happening in general in the industry.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's, the great thing is that we're becoming more recognized for not just being in the actuarial field. So we're not just stuck with like your insurance or super and all that, health insurance and all that, but it's also recognizing that the skills that you develop as an actuary cannot be applied to anywhere else. So we do other work that is possibly not in the traditional actuarial field, but we're expanding out towards other fields as well, which is great because you get to try different things and see what you like.
So do you guys personally feel that you are ready for the changes that may come in the future in the industry?
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Excited for something, to try something different. But yeah, it is definitely exciting because you're just not stuck to a particular area. You get to try things out and see what else there is.
Wow. Yeah. And lastly, just do you have any valuable advice that you wish to pass on to your fellow actuarial students on making the most out of their university time, as well as setting themselves up strongly for a career as an actuary? Good. Yeah. Jasleen?
I definitely think that friendship, if you can find a group of people that you know you can just rely on, work on projects together. At the end of the day, the lecturers are true. They end up being your network. So really maintain that relationship with people. It doesn't have to be 20 people. It can be 5 people as well. Just you don't realize that they do become your network. So this year I've already been communicating with my friends from uni, and you know they're all over the place, all over Australia as well, and you just get to talk to them, understand what's happening in their workforce and what's happening in the industry in general. Another thing is, I know you guys might hate me saying this, but try do the best you can in actually working in all the group projects. Like if you actually try do all the group projects, it helps you so much when it gets into not only applying and interviewing for jobs, but even on the job, because then you go, oh my God, I did this in a project, or just even like the skills, because it actually helps. So yeah, definitely use that and be involved as much as you can, maths, extracurricular activities if you can. Anything else, Jess?
No, I agree with that. Your friends are your network. Believe it or not, your friends are definitely your network. That's your best network you can get, especially at uni. You meet all these people. In the next couple of years, they're doing great things. So it's really interesting, and it's really great way to, I guess, start off your networking. And another thing that I would like as an advice is really just enjoy uni. Don't be so worked up about the studies as well, but also enjoy it. There's so many great opportunities there. Make the most out of it. If you want to go travel overseas, do it. I highly recommend it. It's amazing. I wish I did more, but just do all these sort of stuff that's fun and just makes your uni life even more fun, I guess. But yeah, make the most out of it and get involved.
Yeah, that's definitely a regret of mine. Yeah, I definitely wanted to study abroad. You just get so much experience, don't you, Jess?
Yeah, it's really fun. You meet a lot of people as well. I actually met someone overseas who's actually a part of Deloitte now as well. So he's in Canada. But yeah, he's working at Deloitte as well, and I met him on exchange. So it's incredible the people that you meet there.
Those are some really cool stories and advice.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks.
for that.
It was fantastic advice, and
Yeah.
I would like to thank you both for the interesting conversation we've had today, and thanks to our audience for listening. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode and were able to learn a lot from the valuable advice that Jasleen and Jessica have shared. I know I have. We've personally both learned a lot from your stories, so thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Jessica. We'll let you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It's a beautiful day to go outside, take some fresh air in, but don't forget about the social distancing rules either. And we hope to see you both, as well as our student members, at a future event soon. And remember to stay healthy as well.
Thanks
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.